Hey Bayek, it's me Ian, and in today's video I'm continuing my look at the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection box set. And there's only one more to go after this one, and this is Frenzy from 1972. And this is, well, I think in many ways one of his great films. It really is. It's just a fantastic film. A lot of people, I think, quite rightly have seen this as a real return to form, and it is, unfortunately, his penultimate film as well. So let's get into it. It's 116 minutes long. It's a typical Hitchcock thriller, this. Rotten Tomatoes give it 91%. I think the consensus very much is amongst the critics that this really was a brilliant film. Now, it's written by Anthony Schaeffer, great English playwright, and also writing various screenplays. The one that stands out for me, of course, is The Wicker Man. Yes, 1973. He wrote that, and what a brilliant cult film, horror film that is. What a great British film that is, yeah. And it's based on Goodbye Piccadilly, Farewell Leicester Square by Arthur LeBurn, a novel. That's a particular novel. And, of course, that it's directed by Alfred Hitchcock, and it must be said this is his final film that he directs in London, Britain. So it's got a lot of nostalgia value, it must have, when he was filming this. It's very much reflected in that. Because as a child, he grew up, he knew the Covent Garden markets. His father was a trader there. So we get that, and we get that actual Covent Garden filming in this. I mean, the film is, there's the location filming is in London, and it's very evident around. And of course, as usual with Hitchcock, we've got the filming at Pinewood Studios this time, in where he creates a lot of the interiors, and it's the usual Hitchcock way of filming, very much. Say at Pinewood Studios. He's got a budget of $2 million and made $12.6 million. The public were back on board with him, no doubt about it. They still loved Hitchcock, and they really loved this film. This is outstanding. Now, the music was originally by Henry Mancini. Hitchcock didn't like the score. He didn't want a return to what he described as Bernard Herrmann's. He wanted a new style, but it wasn't. He got Ron Goodwin to replace Henry Mancini, who he just didn't like. And Ron Goodwin, well, what a brilliant composer. He is. Films that stand out are, for me, Where Eagles Dare and 633 Squadron. Wonderful theme tunes for films that I really like. Now, Hitchcock appears 3 minutes into the film. We see him in the crowd with his bowler hat on. Yes, he's there. It's over very quickly. It's there at the beginning. 3 minutes into the film, we see him. Right, what I'll do now is we'll go into the cast. The cast is headed by John Finch, who plays Richard Blaney. Hitchcock wanted somebody not, a massive star this time. He wanted somebody who, had some experience, obviously, but was not as well known. Now, an interesting point about this, I like trivia, that John Finch apparently was cast in Alien, the brilliant Ridley Scott film Alien, and he got taken ill the first day of shooting, and he was to play Kane, and guess who took over the part? John Hurt, in the iconic scene that we see in Alien. So wow, he could have been part of that scene. Yes, but there we are. That's history. Anyhow, let's get to films that we might have known him in. Not big roles, but he was in two of the Hammer films. He was in Vampire Lovers 1970. He was also in the horror Frankenstein 1970. He was in, now this was a major role for him, in Polanski's Macbeth from 1971. He was the lead in that. He was also in Death on the Nile 1978. And a film that I really like is Breaking Glass, Hazel O'Connor film. He was in that 1980. Yes. And he's got, he had a TV sort of career as well. Yeah, that's him. And then we've got, well, brilliant in this role, Barry Foster playing Robert Rusk, playing the psychopathic serial killer. He was in Ryan's Daughter. He was in Sweeney as well. So Ryan's Daughter 1970, Sweeney 1977. He was also in Heat and Dust from 1983, which is a brilliant film that I just absolutely love that film so much. It's just outstanding. That's Heat and Dust 1983. And also he was known for the TV series Van der Valk. I mean, wow. That was very popular, exceedingly popular series. I should have said another reason why I love Heat and Dust is, of course, it's Julie Christie. It's a Julie Christie film. The later one. She's great in that. But yeah, he's in that anyhow. Now, we have also got Alec McGowan, who plays the police inspector Oxford, Chief Inspector Oxford, and he's very good in this role. He's a very experienced actor. He was in Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner 1962, which is quite a big, important film. He was in Personal Services, which I really like, which is 1987. I know that sounds Julie Walters, and that's really a very British film, that one. And he's also in, Cry Freedom, the Richard Attenborough film from 1987, which he directed. Yes, he's in that one. Then we got Billy Whitelaw. Wow, Billy Whitelaw. She plays Hetty Porter. She had a brilliant film career. She was in films like Payroll, which I've covered before. But of course, she was in The Omen. Oh, she's brilliant in The Omen. That's from 1976. She was also in The Craze, 1990. Very important role in that film. And I didn't know this. Her last film was Hot Fuzz in the Cornetto trilogy of 2007. Yeah, there she is, Billy Whitelaw. Then we've got Anna Massey, who plays Barbara Milligan. She was the film that just stood out for me. She was in The Vault of Horror, 1973, which is an Amicus film. It was one of the horror anthologies. She's in that, but she had a sort of very much a TV career and a few smaller roles in films, but that film stood out for me. Then there's Barbara Lee Hunt, who plays Brenda Blaney. She was in Henry VIII and the Six Wives, 1972. It's a Keith Michelle film. It was an adaptation of the BBC series made into a film. She played Catherine Parr in that. And then again, it's just lots of TV series. It's just an amazing amount. And then we've got the wonderful Bernard Cribbins in the film. Yeah, he's in it quite a bit, but he's not just one fleeting role. He's around in the film. And he plays Felix Forsyth. Bernard Cribbins is a legend. He is such a great, what a wonderful character he was. Of course, I know him for his Doctor Who connections. Dalek Invasion Earth, 2050 AD from 1966, the second Dalek film. He's brilliant in that. And of course, he was brilliant in The Railway Children from 1970. Absolutely. It's such a great film. It's a classic film that people love. He was in that. And of course, he was the voice of the Wombles. Yes, the Wombles, 1973 to 1975. He was just that. And then he returns to Doctor Who as Wilfred Mott from 2007, 2010. And then just before he died last year, it was just a very brief appearance where he wasn't very well, but he's in that. It was his last appearance in Doctor Who, posthumously as well. Yeah, that's Bernard Cribbins. So, what is this film about? Well, a serial killer is strangling women with his tie. And of course, that is the Barry Foster character, Robert Rusk. We know fairly early on that he's the one that's doing it. And he comes into contact, he knows Richard Blaney, played by John Finch, and he kind of gets entangled in all that goes on and ends up through a series of events being a major suspect. In fact, the suspect of these murders. And he goes on the run, and the story develops from that as well. And it's brilliant. Right up to the very last scene is fantastic, the way this story, right to the end, it's all there, the tension and everything. After all these events have unfolded brilliantly. And I do have to say that Barry Foster, though, is just fantastic as this serial killer. He is fantastic in the role. He's so chilling as well. This film is an Hitchcock masterpiece. It is. It really is. Got everything. One minute it is really terrifying and very uncomfortable. The rape and murder scene, the way it's filmed, apparently it took 3 days to film, is so chilling. It's one of the most chilling scenes that I've seen. And then, of course, one of the second murder, which we don't see off camera, is one of those long tracing shots that Hitchcock does. Wow, it's just great. And there's all sorts of scenes, like in the back of the potato lorry as well. And everything about it. And then we have humour. There's humour pops in, particularly with the inspector, who has this wife who's doing this cooking, this sort of gourmet cooking, and he's each evening comes home and he's eating and talking about the case. It's brilliant because you get a deduction about how they're coming to their conclusions about who is the actual murderer, and it's fantastic. It's so funny as well. The humour there. There's so much in this film. It's a British classic, really. It's a film that maybe just slightly gets overlooked in terms of when you look at British crime thrillers of this type. Because it's 1970, it's very 70s. You look at it, and maybe that is really an expression of why it's a bit more graphic for a Hitchcock film in many ways. It looks more graphic, though it isn't really that, but it does look more. And as I say, it's the first Hitchcock film since Psycho, though Psycho, you could argue, isn't showing blatant nudity. In this, we do see that. We see nudity, it's quite blatant. In Psycho, as with the famous scene. But yeah, this is such a great film that the fact that you can be 1 minute be really laughing and smiling, and then being chilled by that scene like that we see It's beautifully put together. I highly recommend. If you've not seen this, you should see this. This is up there with his greatest films that he made. His masterpieces. It does really belong. And it was seen, as I say, a big comeback. A lot of people were disappointed by the two Cold War films, and then we've got this, and this is brilliant. It's a shame that it was his penultimate film, really. You'd love to have seen him done more like this, but there we are. So, before I go, I'll just show you this. I always do the box set. There it is. It's a superb. We've just got one more left for next week. And then, but we still haven't finished with Hitchcock, as you will learn. We're still going to carry on doing some more Hitchcock. Anyhow, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We'll let you know when I put out these videos. And have a look at the playlist, see what, you might like it or you might not. And if you like this particular video, please give it a like. Get it out onto YouTube and algorithms and all that. And if you've got any comments, please put your comments down. I love to read your comments. Really is so good to read them. And it costs note. So there you are. Can't say fairer than that. And that's it. I better go. So all I gotta say is, I'll see thee again.